There is no fun in tracking customer acquisition costs. Dealing with growth or customer acquisition tempo or other dynamic metrics is much more thrilling, as they help us to see when our business flowed into the sunset of success. But there is one tiny detail. Your speed and your growth don't matter if the reward you gain from a paying customer is less than the amount burned to win that customer. Hi, I'm Ilya, the founder of Eleken, the product design agency for SaaS. Years of working with SaaS startups led me to the conclusion that customer acquisition cost is one of the key metrics for software as a service. It's because the subscription model implies that reward is split into small pieces and extended in time. You spend money on acquisition long before you see a full return on investment. Not to mention that full return will never occur in case of a newcomer decides to churn after the first month. It's critical for SaaS success to track customer acquisition cost and work on reducing it. This is what we'll talk about today, but let's start with the definition first. What is customer acquisition cost? It's the amount you spend to win customers. In other words, it's the sum of all marketing and sales expenses over a given period divided by the number of new customers added during that same period. The customer acquisition cost formula looks like the simplest formula ever. Divide your $500 budget for search ads on your 10 new users, and that's it, $50 for an acquisition. However, there is still plenty of room for misunderstanding. Like, what's included in customer acquisition costs? And do your freemium users belong to acquired customers? There are 4 most common mistakes in how customer acquisition costs calculated. Counting paid advertising as your only acquisition expense. Forgetting to include indirect costs such as subscription for tools, services, and software. Missing the salaries of all acquisition-related personnel. Considering non-paying freemium users as acquired customers. You should count only paying customers. Any of those mistakes can make your LTV to CAC ratio different from the actual numbers. The actual numbers are impressive. First Page Sage agency calculated the average customer acquisition cost by the industry, and it's impressive. You need an average of $341 to acquire one paying customer for B2B SaaS. Pretty dramatic, but don't worry too much about that figure, because customer acquisition is a relative concept. Alone, it says nothing about your business. Spending $341 for winning a customer can be too bad if that customer brings you only $300, or the same $341 can be a great investment if you earn $1,000. That's enough for a payback along with a sustainable profit. For measuring the amount you earn from a customer, you have another metric called LTV, or customer lifetime value. Together with CAC, it makes a primary indicator of your company's profitability. You can learn more about relation of customer acquisition costs versus lifetime value in my recent video on key SaaS metrics. What is important to discuss now is the golden ratio of SaaS. Venture capitalist David Scott defined that for SaaS companies, lifetime value must be at least 3 times greater than customer acquisition cost. His rule of thumb became an industry standard, and now any guide on SaaS unit economics will tell you that a golden ratio for SaaS is 3:1. All starts from spending your customer acquisition money that puts you deep into a red zone of loss. As your customer starts paying for a subscription, you slowly move towards to CAC payback point where you get your money back, and that's where you reach 1:1 ratio. Lastly, you build up your profit until your customer decides to churn, which is hopefully never. If everything goes as in the picture, your business model is sustainable. You spend on acquisition less than you earn and have enough resources to drive in startup's growth. But things don't always play out quite as intended. Therefore, you need to know how to lower customer acquisition costs. Nice thing about reducing your acquisition expenses is that it lowers your payback target as well as gets you to the path to profits faster. Here are 3 tips to help you reduce customer acquisition costs. First, make user experience frictionless. Only a fraction of people that want to try your product will become paying customers, and you can easily ruin that small fraction with an onboarding that creates more confusion than clarity. Customer friction pops up on every step of your SaaS customer's journey. It makes those journeys long and bumpy, really expensive. It forces prospective customers to leave halfway to a purchase. So it makes sense to identify moments of friction everywhere they happen and eliminate them. This way, you'll reduce wastage of customer acquisition budget. Next tip, optimize your marketing tactics. John Wanamaker, one of the marketing greats, once said, "Half the money I spend on advertising is wasted. The trouble is, I don't know which half." While this phrase was clear a century ago, it's a crime to live by it today. Calculate your CAC and your LTV within each marketing channel so that you can understand their efficiency. Chances are you rely too much on non-recurring acquisition channels like pay-per-click advertisement. Inorganic traffic costs much more and brings immediate result that reduce to zero as soon as you stop pouring money into Google Ads. Organic traffic is less expensive in most cases. Its positive effect lasts longer. With content marketing, for instance, it takes time to gain traction in search search, but as a reward, you'll get compounding effect. Tools like Google Analytics and Mixpanel can be useful for tracking key metrics such as website traffic, conversion rates, and revenue generated from different marketing channels. Using a combination of these tools, you can get data needed to optimize your marketing. Third, focus on audience segments that resonate better. With your early adopter customer acquisition marketing, you may attract a broad variety of users. Many of those people won't be well qualified. They won't have a real need for your product, and your offer might not be a great fit for them. Track the cost of marketing and sales efforts, as well as the revenue generated from each customer. This can help you understand the ROI of your customer acquisition efforts better. If you measure CAC and LTV for all size buyer personas you have, you may figure out that some of the customers are willing to pay a lot, but cost just as much to acquire. On the flip side, you have a group of customers who are cheap, but aren't willing to pay. To lower your expenses, focus your acquisition efforts on personas with the best LTV to CAC ratio. And here comes a bonus idea on improving your stats. Lowering CAC, you bring yourself closer to the payback target and make your business more profitable. But what if lowering per customer acquisition is not the only way to shorten your CAC payback period? SaaS pricing strategy optimization can skyrocket your LTV to CAC ratio just as well. But that's a story for another video. Do you want me to record a video on how to price SaaS product? Let me know in the comments. And that's all for now. If this video was useful, please like and subscribe. We have more good stuff.